We're going to be unboxing and setting up the Cricut Explore 3 in this video. It is the new model of the Cricut Explore Air 2, which you can see on top. So my name is Kelly and let's get cracking. Alright, so let's do the initial unboxing. You were born creative. Super cute. And as always, we have the Cricut welcome pack with us. It'll generally have some supplies, your warranty card, and those kinds of things in there to use on your first project. Now, of course, because this is the Cricut Explore 3, it does not come with a cutting mat because they want to promote the matless cutting, which is a little bit of a disappointment for some because you'll probably have to buy it separately. And with the higher price tag, it does make it a little bit of a downside, but the mats aren't too terribly expensive, so it's not the end of the world. So in this pack we have the smart removable vinyl and the smart sticker cardstock that you'll be able to use on your first projects, which is super cool. And then of course we have our beautiful Cricut with the cables underneath. So we're just going to take that out. I love how they've changed away from polystyrene to now, you know, completely biodegradable, safe, secure packaging. Love that. This is always better when you have somebody else to help you, but I don't. So I'm just going to turn it on its side and pull it out that way. And then I'm just taking the power cables out of the box. And there shouldn't be anything else left. Just some silica to keep it dry. And then a new box for the cats to play in. Okay, so we have our machine and we open her up. Some people save this to use as a dust protector. I prefer to recycle it. And we have our Explore 3. So she's got some safety tape or some precautionary something or others on either side, so we can take that off. I do notice that she's not completely encapsulated in the plastic like the Maker 3 and the Maker was. I don't know if that's an Explore thing, but let's see. This is the first Explore that I'm unboxing. Actually just going to carefully poke a hole. I don't recommend picking the machines up like that. I did that with my Maker once and this little thing popped out, so learn from my mistakes. Seems to be quite sticky, so that'll go into recycling as well. And then the other side, a little bit more carefully because we don't want to scratch the machine. Okay, so let's start with the back of the machine because that's what I'm seeing. So we have obviously the part where the mats come out. Over here we have our power cable and our USB connector where the USB cable attaches to the computer. Then when we turn her around, now she's a beautiful mat with the bottom part that is shiny, which is really nice. She does have a little removable sticker here, so we can, just to make sure that it doesn't open obviously while in transit or anything like that. Advantage of long nails. So we just take this sticker off. And then much like her predecessor, her Explore Air 2 counterpart, she's got the open button, so we can just press it. And then you hear your angels singing, which is great. So a little bit of foam that we can take off, and the blade is already installed, so those you can then just open and change there. It also has the tablet slot, so your tablet can then sit there while you are busy cutting something. Almost twinsies, mine's just a little bit dirty. So let's take a quick squiz through the starter pack. Okay, so we have our warranty card, our user booklet, another piece of smart removable vinyl, and then some other warranty information and such. So you can refer back to these if you need to know how it works. I assume, yeah, this is just a manual telling you what everything is, but so you can go through that if you want to. On the machine, she also has these two trays here that you can actually open independently of each other, which is quite nice. Don't know why they didn't just link them up together, but that's fine. It also has the tray guides. Now this is very useful if you're wanting to use the roll feeder. So because the Explore 3 can cut matless, you can then take your trusty roll feeder, and it has these two little guides here and you can line them up, load it up onto there, and then you'll be able to feed your vinyl into this part here. Not quite on properly, but you know what I mean. You'll be able to feed the vinyl in there, and then when you're ready to cut it, you could just swipe it across and cut the vinyl. Very useful. So in terms of setup, this is your USB cable that you're going to need if you want to connect it to your computer and not use Bluetooth. I'm going to be using my iPad, and I'm going to be using Bluetooth, so I don't need it. It also comes with a new power cable, so your Cricut Explore 3, and it's purposefully labeled Cricut Explore 3 so that you don't use the old power cable because it won't work for this machine. It obviously needs more power to be able to pull the matless vinyl into it. So you have to use your own power cable. And it comes with a 2-prong for those not in the US, and it also comes with the, I think this is the European adapter, but as long as you've bought your machine in the correct region, it should come with the correct power cable that you're going to need to use. So for me, it comes with the 2-prong attached, and that's the one that we use here in South Africa. So we can plug her in and give her a first test run. So I'm going to start off by closing her, and she needed a little bit of a convincing to get closed on the first try. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to it. I'm going to pull that forward and plug her in at the back. Alright, so first power on, we're going to open her up just so we can see everything that's going on within the actual housing. It's quite a lot quieter than the makers, I'm not going to lie. That rolling across is quite a bit quieter, which is very interesting. So now that it's turned on, I'm in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to set the machine up. So I'm going to go to the hamburger on the top left-hand side of the screen, click the little hamburger icon, and I'm going to go to Machine Setup. So now we select the machine that we're going to be using. So I'm going to go to Cricut Explore 3, and it's asked me to plug it in and power it on. So it says plug in Explore 3 and power on. Now I'm going to connect. It took a few seconds to search for the machine and to find it, but it's found it. So I'm going to click on it, and you'll see that light turns blue. Now, generally what it does is it does a few updates. Obviously, because it's a new machine, we were not going to be able to use it, and you'll see that light also turns red, which means that we're not going to be able to use the machine while it does the updates. So we're going to give it a few minutes to download the updates, install the updates onto the machine, and then we'll be ready to go.
A few moments later.
Okay, apparently it's ready for us. Unexpected. I suppose I should probably put that up there, but then you can't see it. So I'm just connecting it to the machine again. Okay, so now it wants me to activate the machine. So it says, let's activate Explore 3. I accept the Cricut terms and conditions, and let's click activate. So it's still blue because it's still connected via Bluetooth, and we're gonna go continue. So now it wants us to do a test cut. And this is a brilliant way of being able to have a little bit of confidence for your first cut and just kind of see how it works. So we're going to pick one of these designs. I've done the bear, I've done the sunflower, I've done the lips before. Can you tell I have a few machines? So I think I'm going to do the crown this time, and I'm going to go next. Now it obviously wants you to make sure that there's enough space behind it, because when the material passes through the machine, it comes out the back. So if you have things behind the machine, you will affect how the machine is actually going to cut. So you really want to make sure that you have enough space behind it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the machine sideways so that there's nothing behind it on that side. And I'm going to use the small piece of vinyl. So we're going to load the vinyl now. We need to make sure that it passes in the middle of these two little sections here. So we're going to place it on, also being sure to have it go underneath these two little lips on either side and up against the rollers. Now you can see that this button is flashing, so that means that it's ready to actually load the vinyl. So what it'll do is it'll pull the vinyl in, it'll roll it up, it'll roll it down just to check the length of the vinyl, to see if it's long enough for what we're going to need to cut. Now you'll see that the play button is flashing. This means that it's ready to actually start the cut. So we're going to click play, and then it'll start cutting. That was super fast. So now you'll see these arrows are now flashing again, which means that it's ready for the mat to unload. The cut has now been complete and you can now unload the mat. Normally what I would say is for people to check the cut first. So I would normally suggest taking your weeding tool and pulling out a little piece of the vinyl that you know needs to come out to see that it has cut correctly. We can see that it has. It's also just your test cut, so it's not really terribly important. But we click that button and then it unloads the vinyl for us. Now you will notice that there is a rather large gap between the top of the design and the top of the vinyl. Unfortunately, when it comes to using smart vinyl, you're just going to have to get used to it. That is how smart vinyl works. But if you cut, what you can do is you can cut that off and use that as normal vinyl on your cutting mat. So you can then stick it on your mat and then cut something with it. But what we can do now is we can close up this tray section. That closed a lot easier the second time. Move her out of the way and we can get to weeding the design. So now what weeding is obviously to extract all of the excess pieces. So like we pulled away that little black piece over there, that little thin piece over there, we're going to put away this little thin piece here. And I normally end up leaning over the design to like, depending on where the light is, because at the moment I can't see anything because the light is in the wrong place. But you can clearly see where it's been cut and you can then just remove those sections. I always seem to forget to use my weeding tool, so I'm going to use my weeding tool. It's one of the tips that I went over in one of my tips videos. So if you want to check out some of my videos with, you know, Cricut tips, vinyl tips, that kind of thing, I will leave a link up in the top. One of the things that I normally do when I actually cut designs myself is to sometimes put a little box around the design. But in this case, what I'm going to do is just draw a rough circle around it. Hopefully I cut deep enough so we can remove that part of the vinyl. And then we can see the little crown that we have now cut on our first design. And it is super cool that we have our, you know, first item that we've cut. On the screen, you'll see a playlist of beginner videos to help you get started if you're new to the Cricut crafts. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. And remember, be kind to someone today. See you soon.